G'day folks, Scott here. Today I'm reviewing Child's Play. So I saw the new Child's Play and I didn't hate it. It's got its problems, which I'll go over, but I expected to hate it and I didn't. I don't watch trailers. I saw the image of him like on a poster and I thought his eyes looked weird, like drawn on, and that was about my only sort of thing. I wouldn't have gone to see this if not finding out that Mark Hamill was going to voice Chucky, and I think not having Brad Dourif do that voice, I was like, why? He's great at it. He's done an excellent job. He's still alive. Give him some work. So if it was anyone else other than Hamill, I probably would have boycotted it based on that alone. But because it was him, I saw it at the movies, which I said I wouldn't have done. So no spoilers. It's okay if you've seen the trailers. It gives the whole film away. It started strong and it had some really good elements between like Chucky and the boy. I think his name is Andy. Yes, Toy Story Andy. There was some cool elements in that I'll go over, but then it got real shit at the end. It had a horrible, pathetic cop-out ending. And I'll go over that in spoilers after. So just like in the trailers, you know, they introduce the Buddy doll now as a smart device, which for me, not knowing they were doing that, makes sense because how is a doll like Chucky, just a doll that has effectively a ripcord voice and talks to you, you know, I know he was better than that. How's that going to be a hit so that everyone cared now? And the smart toy thing makes sense, you know. I don't like where they went with the fact that every single home had the same product. I can't remember what they were called, but you know, the TV and the security system and air conditioning and like everything in the device is controlled by that, which Chucky could integrate into. That's kind of shit. Like every house has different products in it. Everyone shops at different places. It's very rare that everybody owns everything by just one brand, but maybe they're digging at Apple with, who knows. So that for me was a bit of a problem, but the fundamental idea of a device interacting with everything else in your house, that's already happening. I've got a Google Mini back there and I can control, you know, my lights. I can turn TV on and off through Chromecast and all kinds of stuff, and you know, apps on my phone, and like it's integrated. It's already happening, and I don't have like a big elaborate setup. I've just got some bulbs and light strips and a router and a Google. It's all pretty affordable and simple to do. So the idea of this doll, which was definitely a rich kid doll, the way they presented it in the film, the way he could integrate with it all and play music and do this and that, it makes sense for a toy like that. What I was getting to before with his eyes looking weird to me in that poster is his eyes are screens. And I only watched one of the trailers. I don't think it showed that. But yeah, they're screens. And my kids had Furbies with screen eyes. And I've seen really good looking expensive toys with animated eyes. So again, it makes sense and they worked really well. So yeah, I think I'll leave it there for no spoilers. I think there's elements of it really good. It just went off the tracks towards the end, had a shit ending. So there you go. So full spoilers. With the design of Chucky being like that, obviously the other fundamental fan problem was the fact that it's a robot, a built thing, and they were concerned about it not having anything to do with, you know, serial killer transferring his soul into the doll. And that's correct, it does not. At first I was like, you know, they're not doing that, but then them not doing that element of Chucky removes the Brad Dourif thing. It leaves him to have his version of Chucky, and this is kind of another interpretation of it, and it's okay for me for that, right? This time the hook though, which was kind of stupid that it could ever happen, was they're built in like Vietnam or Korea or somewhere, sweatshop conditions, and this guy isn't producing enough chips and finishing enough Buddy dolls in a shift, and his boss basically flips out at him and says, finish that doll and then get out, you're fired, kind of thing. So the guy of course gets a chip and goes into this secret, you know, Control-Alt-Delete boot hack program and disables all the safety protocols and behavior moderation and like all the stuff to let Chucky just be untethered. I find it kind of weird. I mean, I understand why they did that for the story, but why that shit was already programmed into him for him to be able to learn and do those things, that shouldn't be controlled by as on and off toggle in a boot program. It should not be there at all as far as AI, right? Whatever. So that's what happens. This guy, a disgruntled worker, turns him off and sends him out effectively as the Terminator was in Terminator 2 when they, in the deleted, extended edition, pulled the thing out of his head and turned his learning chip on full bore instead of like the protocol Skynet controlled thing. That's effectively what Chucky is. And I like that. It's interesting and it's different. And watching Chucky learn was a completely different experience to the other Child's Play. The other Child's Play obviously played a lot of the film as, you know, he's doing shit, but you never really see him do it. And as the film evolves, you see more and more and more until, as Chucky, right? The good portion of that movie where no one believed the kid, Chucky was more like Buzz and Woody in Toy Story, where anytime a person looked, they just freeze in place. And Chucky didn't do that at all in this one because he's an interactive smart home robot. So from the time they pull him out of the box and turn him on and stuff, like, he holding his hand, walking him to his bedroom, showing him everything. And from that point on, it basically became a retelling of E.T. with a dark twist. This kid, Andy, you know, even at one stage when he was teaching Chucky, had a red hoodie on, hood over, like exactly like Elliot from E.T. And they have all these sort of, you know, the kid thinks he's too old for Chucky and Chucky's just a whack kid's toy, to the fact that he genuinely loves the thing and cares about what happens to it. But as the other people who were concerned, having a Terminator with all its inhibitions turned off, learning from children who didn't know he was learning in such a capacity, they cultured him to become what he is, which was kind of cool. People are mean to him here and there. Kid's got problems at home, so he's, you know, hates his, not stepfather, but mum's boyfriend who comes around. I'll get back to the mum. So all this kid's anxieties about the world, Chucky absorbs and reacts upon without any kind of thing to tell him not to. And that's cool. Getting back to the mum real quick while I think of it. I didn't know it was his mum. My mates didn't know it was his mum. This chick looked like his sister. So for the first 10, 15 minutes of the film, every time I saw them, I'm like, she's acting like a mum, but she's clearly a sister. She's like so close to his age. And my mate was like, what the fuck's up with that? And by the time she cracked a really passing reference to it to somebody about, I had a funny Sweet 16 party or something, about referencing the fact she was 16 when she had the kid, I still don't even think it looked like the 10-year gap. Like, that was kind of like, it drew me out of it. Like, I was wondering more than that, than I should have been paying attention to the fucking movie. But yeah, that was weird. And she was kind of shit, but whatever. Back to Chucky, because that's elements of that are the only thing I liked about this, because it was different to the other one. The behavior keeps going with things happening, and they're getting Chucky to prank people and to sneak up on people and teaching him like predatory stalking things. And Chucky's favorite game is like hide and seek, and they're getting him to go and pick on this guy. So he's like, Chucky's sneaking up and appearing, disappearing, doing all this kind of things. And they're basically teaching him to hunt and stalk a person. And then they sit around and they watch Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2, which is a weird gore reference movie to have in this, but also cool. But they were playing the movie like they said. Chucky watched the whole thing, even though they were playing the movie out of sequence and were showing like the middle of the movie and then the beginning and all over the place or whatever. They showed all the gory bits from Texas 2. And Chucky's watching it, and the kids are all laughing and ha ha ha, this is the best, blah blah blah, look at that, look at that. And Chucky comes straight back in with the knife and like goes to like, I'm going to make you happy too. I want to make someone happy. So they've taught him violence please them, that people who come and try and get between you, like this guy getting between the kid and his mum, should be feared in that. And the mum has a cat, and the kid's playing with a cat one day or doing something, the cat like swipes him and cuts him, and Chucky's like, he hurt you, like what's all that about? And of course it attacks the cat, and all this learned behavior was cool. Like, I just immediately got to let Dourif's Chucky be that, and it's not infringing upon that. It's just a different way something simple becomes a maniac. And like I said, even with the learning chip was fucking stupid, and that should never have been able to happen, the path it led down was cool. And then everything else was kind of shit. There were some good kills, a couple of really good gore scenes, and they were kind of funny and all, but the writing was pretty bad. Like, all the mum character and that, they were all just what's the least amount of effort to get this a functional character? It's like the most classic white guy riding a black guy down the hole, like the police dude. He's so just stereotypical, and he has the stereotypical black mama who like overbearing and loves dinner and blah blah blah, and it's just so paint by numbers that was kind of border level insulting. But whatever. And then they had, his group of friends who he made, friends with in the apartment building he lived in, and they're the ones who helped him sort of lead Chucky to becoming what he did. But a lot of the human interactions and the situations they got into were just stupid. Chucky, after having watched Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, when he kills this boyfriend who was seeing the mum, removes his face and then sticks it to like a toy head and leaves it in Andy's bedroom as a present to go, is that making you happy? Because he saw that in the movie and saw them all laughing at the movie. That was a really cool element, and I really liked that. But then the bullshit that came after that, where they wrapped it like a present and hid it in their neighbor's house, and it was getting carried around by people and sat in the middle of tables and near a cop and all that, and no one smelt rotten flesh or any of that shit, was fucking stupid. So there's kind of good and bad in everything. The cop makes no fucking sense. Like, he's got a jacket with police written on it, like a zip-up kind of thing, so we assume he's a detective. Every single crime that happens in relation to this movie, he attends first attender at the crime scenes. Like, he's the boss man. But in different kind of things, like reason he's coming to a scene. And even when his mum dies, when Chucky kills her with a remote control car, he gets sent to his mum's death's crime scene to like pull the sheet off and see his mum, and like he's going to investigate the crime. That doesn't happen. Get fucked. Like, so that element was totally fucking stupid. The car thing, and even with the way Chucky worked, and more fucking ET references, is when he wants to control devices, he holds his hand up with a finger and it glows on the tip like fucking ET. So he's flying drones with razor blades on him and shit around at the end and stuff. And so there's all little bits in that I like, and there's elements of Chucky that I really do like. And then I guess, I don't want to say letdown, it's too much, but the reason I went, like I said, was Mark Hamill. And I really had high expectations from him. If you know him, you know, apart from Star Wars, his fantastic work in voice acting and all through the Joker and all that kind of stuff, he's just great. So I really expected him to give me a really good, unhinged kind of Chucky performance. And it never really does. Like, he doesn't do a bad job or anything, but it was just like it was being held back, like it was restrained, like they're going, don't go Joker, don't go too far. So, you know, he did a good job, and I liked some elements of it, but I just, knowing where he could go, him not going there was a bit of a letdown. I reckon that's it. I think I've said everything I have to say. You're either going to see it or you're not, and I hope you agreed with me. And don't just outwardly hate it, because it's okay for it to be different from that Chucky, I feel. And it's better than, like, your Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th reimaginings and that, which weren't reimaginings. At least they did try something new, so it's got to have that, yeah? Yeah, that's it. Teddy bear Chucky. Terrifying.